Hello and welcome to the Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship Virtual Workshop. My name is Paige Jennings and I am the National Fellowships Coordinator at the University of South Carolina. And I am joined by Anusha Parikh from the Study Abroad Office. Today we are going to talk about the Gilman Scholarships as well as steps to study abroad, as you do have to go through the Study Abroad Office's process before you can apply for this award. So we're going to have Anusha take over from here and let's get started.
Alrighty, so again, my name is Anusha Parikh. I'm a study abroad advisor in the Study Abroad Office here. So if you are a little bit more open to what your study abroad program or destination will look like, there are some factors that you want to consider when you're choosing your location. So some of these things are location, length, and program type. So location, definitely Western Europe is one of the most popular locations to study abroad, but if you're looking for affordability and you are open to location, I would advise looking at study abroad programs in Asia, in Africa, in South America, and Eastern Europe, as these tend to be a little bit more cheap and more affordable for the same study abroad length and things like that. So another thing is length. So a lot of times students will think, okay, let me go on a shorter term program because it's going to be less expensive. And that's true. Overall, it probably will be more or less expensive than an entire semester, but some of your fixed costs stay the same. So one of those big fixed costs is your airfare. If you're looking at going abroad for the minimum length required for the Gilman Scholarship, which is 21 days, then that's fine. Your flight is still going to be the same cost right here. If you're looking at studying abroad in Bangkok, Thailand, for example, your flight is probably going to be the biggest cost associated with that study abroad program, and flights will run somewhere around $1,500. If you're only doing a 3-week program there, that $1,500 adds up to have less bang for your buck, if you will. So think about programs that are a longer amount of time, but you get a little bit more bang for your buck. With some of those summer programs, they can be anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 on the cheaper side. But sometimes an entire semester abroad in some of those non-traditional study abroad locations can actually just be around $7,000 to $9,000. So for an entire semester, you would actually get to stay abroad for just a couple $1,000s more, which can, of course, be a little bit more affordable if you were awarded the Gilman Scholarship. And then last, you want to think about your program type. So as soon as you step into the study abroad office and start attending workshops, you're going to find out that there are many different types of study abroad programs. So we have 6 different program types that are possible for students to go on. And this is pretty important when you're thinking about affordability. So exchange programs tend to be amongst the cheapest program types because you do pay in-state UofSC tuition, regardless of your status. You can be an out-of-state student and not have an in-state tuition waiver, but if you went on an exchange program, you would still pay that in-state tuition rate, which is a really surefire way of making sure that your baseline costs end up being about the same as if you were here on campus at UofSC. There are also a couple of global partner programs that tend to have some very cheap program options as well. So we're going to take a look at some of those right now. So for the exchange programs, like I mentioned, the in-state tuition is possible for even out-of-state students. Exchange programs tend to be a little bit more independent and immersive. Your classes are potentially going to be with other international students and local students, as opposed to a classroom filled with other American college students or anything like this. We have exchange programs in over 20 countries. You will need a couple of essays and a recommendation letter for your application. And then for the global partner programs, if you're specifically looking at affordability and making sure that you can study abroad for the length that is the best fit for you, then I would strongly recommend looking at the global partner program, USAC. So I've just outlined a couple of some of their low-cost locations right here, and you can see kind of to my point what I was talking about here. So for an entire, for an entire semester, really, in India, if you wanted to study abroad, you could study abroad for $6,000, less than $6,000. And that's going to include your housing, that's going to include your tuition, that's going to include some excursions and support with your visa, help with your application process, and some other things. Sometimes airport pickup is included depending on which program you're going with, but it'll never include your flight. So if you really look at it, it's just a couple $1,000s difference between a 5-week summer program and an entire 4-month semester abroad. So it's a good idea to take a look at really what your budget looks like, what your academics look like, and see if you could fit in a longer amount of time abroad. But there are still very affordable options for summer semester and an entire year abroad. For USC specifically, I'm pretty sure most students end up paying somewhere in that 11 to 12,000 range for your semester here at USC. So you could actually spend an entire semester or an entire year abroad for that same cost as a semester here in Columbia. So you could actually end up saving some money if you do go abroad in some of these non-traditional study abroad locations. So steps to study abroad. Number one, I would say definitely the most important thing is meeting with your academic advisor. Your academic advisor is going to let you know which programs are going to be a good, well, not which programs are going to be a good fit, but which classes are going to be a good fit for you to take abroad, actually. And without knowing which classes you need to take to stay on your academic progression, to graduate on time, it's going to be pretty hard for your study abroad advisor to help you find out which programs would be a good fit for you. So your academic advisor can really tell you, is studying abroad for an entire year realistic for your degree and where you are in your progression right now. So meeting with them is definitely the first best step. After that, you'll want to attend an information workshop. We offer them every single day, and we are still offering them virtually every single day. This will continue throughout the summer, 5 times a week for the Study Abroad 101 information workshop. Those workshops are going to talk to you a little bit more about the application process and do a bit of a deep dive into what the different program types are, since I only lightly touched on this. After you attend the workshop, you'll want to do a little bit of independent research to see what locations are really jumping out to you, or maybe you have a friend that went on a program that they really loved that you want to look a little bit more into. But it's nice to search a bit on our website in our program directory to see what this portfolio of thousands of program really entails for you. Then you'll meet with a study abroad advisor. So my contact information is listed there, but you can meet with any study abroad advisor to help you kind of disseminate which programs are a good fit for you. But you'll definitely want to meet with me specifically when you're talking about the Gilman Scholarship as it relates to your study abroad application. And then, of course, we have many scholarships through our office, through the study abroad office. There could be study abroad scholarships through your specific department. And of course, there are other national scholarships. So there are other funding opportunities other than the Gilman Scholarship in general. You never want to put your eggs all in one basket. There are a lot of different funding opportunities. And with that, I'm just going to go ahead and give it over to Paige to take over.
All right, thank you. Let's see. Oh no. Let's go back. And we're going to start with the Gilman overview. Okay, so Gilman Scholarship overview. So the Gilman is a U.S. Department of State sponsored program. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why it won't let me click to the next slide. Okay, there we go. All right, so the U.S. Department of State, they have created this scholarship to increase the access to study abroad to students who are historically underrepresented. So students who come from backgrounds of high financial need, ethnic minorities, students who are first generation, so that's first in their family to attend college, students with disabilities, non-traditional students, so our adult learners, and underrepresented fields of study, STEM. So think about this as you are working on your application. You want to keep in mind who's the funder, why they've created the scholarship. And so this is why Gilman is established. And as you're writing your application, you want to try to highlight those things about yourself. And the main thing is they want to give this opportunity to students who may not have the financial means to study abroad. So that takes us to the next point. I guess I should just not click it with my arrow on my keyboard, so I'll just click it from the slide. So let's talk about the award benefits. So the Gilman provides up to $5,000. The average award is approximately $4,000. It depends on a variety of factors, but most students will probably not get the full $5,000. We hope you do, but there's no way to know for sure. So like Anuja said, you want to apply for multiple awards. There are other awards that we advise on in the National Fellowships Office that can potentially go towards your study abroad opportunity. And again, there are some internal ones. So you want to try to stack these. Of course, Gilman is not the only thing that you can apply for. If you are studying a critical needs language, you can apply for an additional $3,000. Again, it's up to $3,000. You're not guaranteed to get it. But the most you can get on this award is $8,000. This thing is not being nice to me. Okay, so for eligibility, since it's a US government program, you have to be a US citizen, you must be an undergraduate, and for the traditional Gilman, you have to be a federal Pell Grant recipient during the time of application. You will have, or during the time of study abroad, you will have a part of your application where you need to have a financial aid advisor kind of certify your application. There's nothing you really need to do for that, but that will be the person who can verify that you are receiving a Pell Grant. The next piece is kind of where Anuja comes in. You must be participating in a study or internship abroad program that's eligible for credit by UofSC. So Anuja must know the program that you're doing. Try to meet with her and talk to her about the program and make sure that it's eligible for credit. Those credits will come back to UofSC. Your program must be at least 3 weeks long, so that's 21 days. Travel days are not included in that 21 days, so look carefully at the program that you want to do. I know a lot of students are interested in Maymesters, but many of them will not fit this length requirement. So again, that's something you can talk with Anuja about if you're unsure. And then finally, you need to make sure that you are studying in a country that is not a level 3 or 4 for the US state travel advisory. Again, right now, because of the circumstances we are in, there's really nowhere that you can go right now. But again, the Study Abroad Office is monitoring these things constantly, and they will make sure that where you're planning to go is eligible for Gilman. Okay, so the next one is the Gillman McCain, and this is a newer award. It's named after John McCain, and it is for students who are child dependents of active service military, so active duty military members. So this is similar in terms of the application to the original Gilman. It gives up to $5,000 again. Like I said, it's brand new, so they now have a rolling admission, and it's the only eligibility requirement really is that you are a dependent of active military and you're receiving any type of Title IV funding. So you can take a look at the list of different branches that are eligible. Students always have questions about that. If you are not receiving any type of Title IV federal aid, then you're not eligible to apply, even if you meet the first requirement of being a dependent of active duty military. Most of you are going to fall into the Title IV federal aid piece. So if you have questions, again, we have the financial aid person who will certify it. So don't worry too much about that, and we can give you their contact information if you are unsure before you go through the application process. The other requirements are the same. So your program must be eligible for credit. It must be a minimum of 21 days, and you cannot go to a level 3 or 4 for the travel advisory. Okay, so the application requirements. So the things that you need to do, you need to fill out an online application form. So you'll have to put in information about your degree, your biographical information, that kind of stuff, your program. And then you'll have to do 2 essays, which I'll get into a bit later. And then the advisor certifications that I mentioned before are the study abroad advisor, which is Anuja, and then the financial aid advisor. It goes back and forth between 2 people in their office. We will let you know who it is at the time that you're applying. So don't stress about that. And then finally, you need to upload a transcript. Okay, so the first essay that you are required to do is a statement of purpose. And this is your opportunity to kind of talk about yourself. It's kind of like a personal statement essay that you would write if you were a high school senior trying to get into college. So this is telling us about your background, your motivations for studying abroad, what studying abroad would mean to you, what are your personal goals, professional goals, academic goals, why you've chosen that particular destination, and how that would contribute to those goals in the future. This is also the opportunity for you to tell us who you are if you belong to one of those underrepresented groups that Gilman is trying to make study abroad accessible to. You need to say that explicitly in your essays, otherwise they will not know. So they will not know if you're a first generation college student unless you outright say it. So talk about that and talk about how that is kind of influenced your path or impacted you in any way. And yeah, make the connection between the specific courses that you're taking. So if you're taking language classes and you want to be an immigration lawyer in the future, make that connection for them and show them that it's not just the experience of, you know, getting an international experience is going to be life-changing. We get that, we know that. So let's talk a little bit beyond that and make it unique to you. So try to say things that no one else could say in these essays, because it's going to be a lot harder for them to say no to you if they feel like they know you and they feel like you have taken the time and effort to really think about the program that you're going on. You can find the specific prompts on the Gilman website, and we also will have some of that information in our National Fellowships Blackboard organization. If you want to get access to that, just feel free to email us at nfsp@sc.edu and we can go ahead and add you to that and you'll have access to that information. Anuja, do you have anything you want to add to the statement of purpose essay in terms of hints and tips about how
Yeah, so Paige really covered most of it, but I would say don't stress out too much if you don't remember everything that was said right here in this PowerPoint, in this presentation. As soon as you get drafts to us, Paige and I will look them over, and we're looking for these generalizations and things that you could improve upon. So the sooner you get a first draft to us, the sooner we'll be able to help you improve that essay and help you get it to the point that it is very specific and where the readers do learn a lot about you and your goals.
Thank you. Yeah, so like Anuja said, we will help you as many times as you send us essay drafts, we will review them for you. And Anuja has been a reader for Gilman before. Our director, Jennifer Best, has also been a reader for Gilman, so they know what they're looking for and they're there to help you craft your essays to be as strong as possible. So the second essay is the community impact essay. It previously was just the follow-on service project proposal, but now they've added a component of citizen diplomacy abroad. So they want to know what you're going to do while you're overseas to engage with the host community and to foster mutual understanding between the people of your host community and the US. So again, this is another opportunity for you to talk about you and your interests. So if you are really into art or music, maybe you want to engage in art or music club in your host country, and that will give you the opportunity to talk about different issues in society and how you use art to convey those things to the to the population, you know, to people. So this is an opportunity for you to talk about your interests and again, talk about what aspects of your background you want to share with your host community and then what things about your host community you would like to learn. Then that leads to the next point, which is the follow-on service project proposal. So this is kind of the paying it forward and coming back to the US and sharing your experience with others. So again, Gilman wants to encourage people from those historically underrepresented backgrounds to study abroad. And so when you get back to the US, how will you help encourage those people to study abroad? Most likely you already have a group or community either at USC or your home where you can go back and talk to people about study abroad. So it could be a club that you're in on campus. So maybe your fraternity or sorority, maybe a service group that you're a part of, or maybe it can be something back in your hometown, like a church community or a youth group that you're a part of that you know has those, that population that Gilman wants to reach. So in this proposal, you're just talking about an idea that you have. It can be a presentation, it can be you sharing photos or your blogs or something like that with people to encourage them to study abroad. And again, you might want to mention a lot of the people that would be at this event are potential Pell Grant recipients, and they would be eligible for something like the Gilman in the future. So try to be as detailed as possible here. We have a lot of students who work with the Study Abroad office, work with their campus organizations that they're involved with, maybe even their dormitories, so your residence halls. So think of different ways that you can engage and encourage other people to study abroad. We do have examples of this on our Blackboard site, so we'll have snippets of past recipients' follow-on projects, and this is something that you'll actually do. So try not to be too ambitious, be realistic, and if you would like to work with the Study Abroad office, talk to Anuja about it. Feel free to put her name in your application to say that I've already spoken with Anuja Parikh. Our picture here is of one of our recipients who was in Ghana this semester, and she's got the Black and Abroad shirt on in the picture. And that's one of the things that she mentioned getting involved with when she comes back is getting more involved in that and helping encourage other students of color to study abroad. And that's something that Anuja works on. So she mentions that in her essay. Anuja, any other tips for this essay?
You really covered all the bases.
There we go. Next slide. Okay, so the timelines and deadlines is pretty straightforward. I think, yeah, cycle 1. I want to see, okay, I wanted to make sure all the dates came up. These dates are not correct. Can you update us on the dates, Anuja? Because I know that the October ones are later than it appears.
Yeah, it's it should be October 5th is the deadline, but let me just double check.
I think that's right. I know the 5th, I think, is a Monday.
I've got it up here now.
Or maybe it's the 13th. No, I don't know.
October 6th, because the certification
Tuesday usually. Okay.
Yeah.
So the 6th is the deadline, and then Anuja will have a week to do the certifications. Again, there's nothing that you have to do to get her to do it. She knows that she has to do it, so be patient with her as she works on those because it's a lot of work to do. Yeah, and for the most part, you'll have 2 chances to apply. So you should apply early the first time and hopefully you get it. And if not, try again. But it's always nice to have the funding secured and know that you have some kind of funding to go towards your program earlier. So yes, these are the general timelines, not exact. All right, so I'm trying to think of any frequently asked questions, but we do have an FAQ portion in our Blackboard, so you can just go there and take a look at any questions that you may have. And I think that's about it. Anisha, anything else?
No, I would just say come chat with us. We definitely don't want you to start the application if you're not really sure if your program qualifies for it. So it's really best to just touch base with us to make sure that your program is a good fit. You've met with your academic advisor, you know the steps to apply to study abroad, and then you can really start on your application.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you for viewing this workshop, and we hope to see you soon. Now, how do I turn this off?
Hover over your green thing.
I don't have it because I still have control of your screen.
Wait, yeah, but you should be able to hover, right? Oh no, hold on, here.
Can you take control back? There we go.
Yeah.